also for your responses for introduction to space weather. Dan sekejap ya, nanti saya bagi link untuk isi kehadiran lagi sekali. Kita tengok dulu sekejap. Where is my dashboard? Sekejap ya. Thank you so much to all these 22 lovely people who have already responded. Dan nak tahu Dean Production ni siapa ya? I thought that is a copyrighted name. Oh, sebab ada Y kot. Dean Production siapa ya? Nanti update dekat messages ya. Kemudian saya juga take note yang word wall yang train tu adalah annoyingly slow. So saya insyaAllah saya tak guna dah lah. Thank you so much for your feedback. So hari ni dan satu lagi berkaitan dengan kamu punya PBD, you already know your results, but I have stated that nanti kita akan keluarkan CJ kan, so I am in the midst of preparing the certificates. InsyaAllah by Friday boleh dapat lah certificates tu individually ya. And then but please take note that nak kata apa ya, untuk pentaksiran bilik darjah, walaupun saya kata sains hari tu comprises of chapter 1 to 6, katalah masa PBD objective papers hari tu you did not perform well, you think you did not perform well, but please take note that your PBD assessment saya bukan hanya ambil daripada result exam hari tu lah. Mungkin hari tu kamu ada demam ke, atau mungkin disebabkan oleh kekangan dari segi device dan sebagainya. Influence the ability for you to answer the questions properly. So saya sentiasa akan semak balik juga apa yang kamu respon dalam PEDEC dan kamu punya PBD, dengan kamu punya group work dan sebagainya. So all of that the work, all the works that you have done before will be used to determine your tahap penguasaan lah. So most of you up until now at least got TP3 atau TP4, and due to your wonderful e-magazines and various group work, many of you have already reached TP5. My aim is to help you develop work atau develop bahan-bahan atau presentations that help you to propel towards to TP6 lah. So especially untuk mereka yang nak aim untuk tunjuk continuous growth, this is good for you lah. Dan cadangan saya ialah dari sekarang, semua benda-benda yang kamu dah buat sepanjang tahun ni untuk subjek sains ke, matematik ke dan sebagainya, kalau ada PBD, misalnya macam ada group work dan sebagainya, simpan salinan semua kamu punya kerja tu, so that it will be part of your e-portfolio. Banyak universiti luar negara dia memang tengok growth, sebab kamu dalam zaman pandemik yang tak ada periksa. So documenting all your work, group work dan sebagainya ni is one way for the for the related parties to determine your growth lah, how to determine how much you have learned. Okay, berkaitan dengan itu, sekali lagi saya ucapkan terima kasih untuk mereka yang dah akses kepada PEDEC last week. I really appreciate it. It shows how much you have grown, and your feedback also shown that how much you are growing to become self-directed learners, orang yang boleh belajar menguruskan pembelajaran sendiri. Okey, jom kita tengok seterusnya sambungan daripada space weather tu lah. So ada banyak space weather yang kita discuss hari tu, seperti solar prominence, CME and others. And these space weathers sebenarnya boleh bawa harmful effects kepada kita lah. Tapi kenapa kita masih lagi protected from the space weather phenomena? So this is because of the presence of the Earth magnetic field, which is also known as geomagnetic field. So it extends from the Earth interior out into the space and forming a sort of magnetic field that that extends from the North Pole to the South Pole. So untuk mereka yang belum masuk pedek lagi, okey, saya lampirkan nota pedek kat sini. Dalam Telegram pun saya dah lampirkan ya. Okey, sekejap. Jom kita tengok sama-sama. Video yang saya lampirkan bersama-sama slide ini adalah video yang menerangkan mengenai the formation of the Earth magnetic pole. Uh, Formation of Earth magnetic pole ni adalah related dengan konsep penghasilan dynamo. So basically kita punya bumi ni adalah giant dynamo. We call it as geodynamo. Jom kita tengok.
No one has ever taken the journey deep down to the heart of our planet, but by studying the way shockwaves from earthquakes travel through the planet, scientists have worked out its likely structure. So now we know that our planet's magnetic field is generated deep down in the Earth's core. Earth's magnetic field is caused by a dynamo effect. The outer core of Earth is liquid metal. Fluid motion there generates electric currents. The motion of the fluid is sustained by convection and driven by buoyancy. When the Earth spins on its axis, it makes the electric currents to form a magnetic field that extends around the planet. If the whole mass of the Earth was solid, there wouldn't be as much of an electric field. A similar example of the dynamo effect is the dynamo light on a bike. When you pedal the bike, magnets in the dynamo start spinning, therefore creating an electric current which turns on the light. And did you know? Earth's magnetic field is 3.5 billion years old, and since then, it has shielded every life form on Earth from the sun's harmful cosmic radiation.
Okay, so as mentioned by the narrator in the video before, the formation of Earth magnetic field help to protect us from cosmic radiation. So cosmic radiation ni interacted with the Earth magnetosphere, and then the Earth magnetosphere tu, the effects of this function of magnetosphere tu kita boleh lihat daripada formation of aurora on the north and south pole of our Earth lah. So apa dia magnetosphere? Jom kita tengok another video that explains Earth magnetosphere. Pada slide ni ada satu gambar dekat sini yang menunjukkan where is the position of the Earth magnetosphere lah. Okay, so sebelum saya explain dengan lebih lanjut, kita tengok dulu video ni. Nanti kita discuss dengan lebih mendalam ya.
Our sun is constantly blasting huge amounts of hot plasma out into space. All those charged particles have a big effect on everything in their path. So what's protecting Earth from the solar wind and solar storms? Earth's thick atmosphere provides some defense, scattering and absorbing solar particles before they reach the surface. But our planet also has a secret weapon, a strong magnetic field it projects into space, mostly generated by molten iron alloys moving in Earth's outer core. The area of space where the magnetic field interacts with the solar wind is called Earth's magnetosphere. Its shape constantly changes as it's bombarded by solar particles. As positively charged protons and negatively charged electrons enter the magnetosphere, most of them are deflected around Earth, long before they reach the atmosphere. The magnetosphere really gets tested when big solar storms, carrying more plasma and traveling at higher speeds, are on a collision course with Earth. While most of the plasma is deflected, some of it gets trapped in the magnetosphere and funnels back toward Earth along field lines emanating from the poles. As charged particles from the Sun collide with nitrogen and oxygen molecules in our atmosphere, they create the cosmic light shows known as auroras. The bigger the storm, the further from the poles auroras can be seen. Some storms are so big they interfere with satellites, cause planes to alter their routes, and can create other problems. The vast majority of the time, these inconveniences are pretty minor. But the next time the solar version of a perfect storm overwhelms Earth's magnetic shield, we might not be so lucky.
Okay, so from the video, we can see that it shows that the Earth magnetosphere is a region where the Earth magnetic field interact with the cosmic radiation that comes from the sun. So, um, bila kita tengok pada video tadi, kalau kamu lihat, the shape of the Earth magnetosphere is not fixed. When it interacted with different frequency atau different strength of solar wind atau solar radiation, the shape of the magnetosphere changes. Bila kita tengok tadi kan, magnetosphere tu interact dengan solar wind, kita nampak macam dia bentuk sort of macam funnel. So dalam diagram yang ada dalam textbook kita, we can see that the wind of charged particles from the sun sort of quote unquote dia macam blow into the magnetic field. Dia macam tiup magnetic field tu nampak macam angin yang masuk dalam windsock windsock yang macam saya letak gambar ni ya. So gambar windsock yang saya bagi tu itu nak sebagai analogi untuk menunjukkan kalau solar wind tu datang interact with our magnetosphere, bentuk magnetosphere tu lebih kurang macam itulah solar wind yang windsock yang angin lalu ke dalam dia ya. So we can see that magnetosphere is very important to protect our livelihood. So can you list at least one importance of magnetosphere? Okay, kalau boleh bagi lebih dari satu lebih bagus ya. Okay, can you list at least one importance of magnetosphere? Okay, good job everyone. Okay, Adriana, tinggal Adriana je belum respon lagi. Sekejap ya, dalam kelas ni ada 20. I think one of you tak masuk lagi dalam pedek. Kalau ada masalah nak masuk, bagi tahu ya. Okay. Yes, very good. Sekejap ya, saya unlock balik. Sorry, saya unlock. Sorry, saya unlock. Okay. So, the first one is, okay, good. To protect the earth from the adverse effect. Okay, okay. Banyak yang tulis to protect the earth from adverse effects ya. Alright, good. So, function as a biological shield pun ada. Okay, saya nampak kat sini. Function as biological shield. Block charge particles. Block charge particles. Okay. Hmm. Hmm. Okay, teruskan. Block charge particle, and then reduce pressure exerted by solar wind on the Earth's atmosphere. Yes, very good. Memang kita punya Earth atmosphere tu ada provide sort of protection juga. For example, as we have discussed before, it protected us from the it filters the UV ray kan, but it is not enough lah. With the support from the earth magnetic field, it can reduce the pressure exerted by solar wind on the earth atmosphere. Yes. And then it block charged particles such as electron, proton and alpha particles. Ini semua kan types of radiation yang kita discuss sebelum ni. So it blocks the electron, proton and alpha particles from reaching the earth, because when it is excessive in number, it will disrupt many aspects of our life lah, seperti navigation system, telecommunication and also electric power lines. So okay, thank you so much for your submission. Memang ada at least 3 importance kat sini. Kemudian kalau kamu dapat list 1 pun okey dah. Bagus. Okey, tak ada masalah. Alright. In the next slide, I would like to show you an excerpt from a movie that shows apa what will happen, atau macam apa nak kata ya, that shows sort of macam prediction lah what will happen if the earth magnetic field can no longer protect us from space weather. Jom kita tengok ya. Okay, dah habis update dah kat situ. Alright. Okay, so the video depicted, as I mentioned before, sebab ada yang baru masuk, the movie depicted a scenario when the Earth magnetosphere and the Earth magnetic fields can no longer protect us from the space weather. So, what are some of the effects? What are some of the effects that you have observed from the video? Apa yang berubah dalam in terms of our lifestyle ke, atau in terms of the environment ke, apa yang berubah? Boleh, boleh. No buildings boleh. Yes, look extremely hot. So many things burn. The color of the sky. Good observation. Cuba tengok, can you recall back what happens to the electronic devices? Apa jadi pada electronic devices masa di dalam kereta, masa dia masuk rumah dan sebagainya? Can you recall back what happened? The electronic device doesn't work. Getting scared. It was chaos. Alright, alright. Good. Good observations. I give you another 1 minute Okay, selamat datang Alia. Oh, minta maaf Alia. Tadi kami sama-sama tengok movie clip and then they are our friends are sharing what they have observed from the movie clip lah. So the movie clip shows depicts the effects of when the Earth magnetosphere and the Earth magnetic fields can no longer protect us from the harmful effects of space weather. Ada yang nampak extremely hot weather, and then if you have watched the movie, the one of the earlier signs of uh, the what the Earth magnetosphere and Earth magnetic field to start to break down kan. Dah lebih banyak kapal terbang terhempas, lepas tu kebakaran hutan semakin berleluasa. As you have mentioned before lah, the weather becomes extremely hot, rapid changes in climate, and the electronic device does not work because it depends on wave kan, the transmissions of various electronic devices, especially untuk media, TV dan sebagainya. TV, radio semuanya guna different types of wave. So the solar weather also intervene with the wave transmissions. So tak boleh dapatlah signal kan. Okay. So if you if you have uh, if you have the time, you can watch this movie. Nama tajuk dia Knowing. It's a 2009 movie, dah lama lah. So kalau kamu tengok, kalau kamu tengok TV dalam cerita tu pun bukan flat screen TV ya, masih lagi CRT, TV CRT. So memang lama lah. Okay, so thank you so much for your responses. Yes, I can see that you have observed many effects of space weather on the surface of the Earth when the magnetosphere does not function kan. Okay, let's take a look at the next slides. So we can see, you can observe adverse effects kan of space weather. Therefore, we realize that it is essential for us to observe and interpret data on space weather so that we can forecast the coronal mass ejection that occurs in the sun, CME yang kamu ada buat last week. CME is one of the a phenomenon that occurs on the surface of the sun, and then we can also determine the reasons for the occurrences of solar flare and CME on the surface of the sun so that we can take preventative measure. So NASA is one of the government bodies that do this kind of observation, interpretation, and inform related parties on changes on the space weather so that the related parties can do preventative measures to reduce the effects of various solar phenomenon ni lah. So jom kita tengok video. Video ni menunjukkan the function of the role of Space Weather Prediction Center developed by the US government that can conduct space weather forecast on how such events may affect the Earth. So jom kita tengok video ni dulu and then we will discuss further ya. Sekejap ya, saya mute dulu.
Technology. It's the rhythm of our everyday life. We're more dependent on satellite and communication systems than at any other time in history. Disruptions can affect our economy and even our safety. To prepare for the effects of such events and minimize impacts, we need to look outside our atmosphere, some 93 million miles away, at a star we call the Sun. It's our main energy source. It warms the Earth and grows our food. While the Sun and the space between may seem pleasant from our perspective, it's anything but peaceful. At its surface exists a chaotic state of eruptions and radiation. And unlike Vegas, what happens at the Sun doesn't stay at the Sun.
Space weather is essentially emissions from the sun, radiation, magnetic field that erupts from the solar surface, pumped out into space, sometimes right towards Earth. When it impacts the Earth, it impacts our technology. That's what we call space weather.
These solar events and their effects at Earth can disrupt systems we take for granted. From causing blackouts to the power grid, to delaying offshore drilling operations due to inaccurate GPS data. Interference with communication systems can force air traffic to reroute and impact rescue response and coordination. Outside our atmosphere, solar radiation can harm astronauts and the systems they depend on. The good news is that these eruptions can be detected early. Forecasters at the NOAA Space Weather Prediction Center in Boulder, Colorado, have their eyes on the sun at all times.
The Space Weather Prediction Center is part of the National Weather Service and is very much like a normal weather forecast office. We're here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We're looking at data, we're looking at imagery, we're looking at model outputs. As conditions develop, we put out alerts, warnings, and watches of imminent activity to our customers so they can take action.
In many ways, forecasting space weather is a lot like forecasting hurricanes. Those who rely on space weather forecasts, like electric power grid managers, are informed early on and can begin taking protective action.
When we see an eruption on the sun, space weather forecasters will issue a watch. This is much like a hurricane watch. When a hurricane sits offshore of Miami, for example, perhaps 48 hours out, we too can see way in advance that something may be coming towards the Earth.
As the storm moves toward us, it hits a monitoring spacecraft orbiting 1 million miles away from Earth.
It's kind of our buoy sitting out there offshore, and that hurricane, about 30, 45 minutes before it makes landfall, we'll get the measurements from the buoy. That's what this spacecraft does for us. That big eruption that left the sun hits the spacecraft. Now we've got the measurements of exactly what's going to impact us here on Earth, and we issue the warnings to give the power grid a heads up that the storm is now imminent. An interesting element to this whole process is that when the forecasters issue the alert, power grid receives the alert, takes the necessary actions to protect the grid, and the average citizen never knows anything ever happened.
The number of customers who rely on space weather information continues to grow. As our reliance on technology increases, so will our need for constant monitoring of the sun.
Okay, so that is an introduction on on the role of a space weather prediction facility that helps to uh, apa that helps to inform us on space weather activities and how big the effects are and what are the steps that we can do lah. So based on the video, uh, can you share what are other functions of the Space Weather Prediction Center? What are the other roles or function of Space Weather Prediction Center? Can you list at least one or two roles of the center? Okay, let's see here some of your submission. Oh, that is good to predict atau know what is coming towards Earth. Describe the state of the sun, magnetosphere. Very good. Real-time monitoring and forecasting of solar and geophysical events. That is brilliant. To watch over the sun every time to predict what happens on Earth. Yes, very good. To know what's happening towards the earth from time to time. Okay, to describe the state of the sun, that is good observation. Provide real-time monitoring and forecasting. Okay, good. Okay, apa so the data for the space weather station ni tak semestinya daripada apa US based facility sajalah. They apa as you might have been exposed to, banyak kajian-kajian yang berlaku berkaitan dengan space ni is made possible due to collaborative effects of many facilities lah. Seperti apa yang kita tengok semasa observation of black hole dulu kan, bila ada bila boleh ambil gambar black hole tu, gambar black hole tu is possible because they are thousands of researchers, hundreds of facilities work together to combine their data to form that one picture, that one very clear picture of the black hole. So it is important for us to note that there is no one country that is far superior and more the sole there is only carries a sole responsibility to inform us about the uh, adverse effects of space weather, tapi it is a collaborative effort. So, talking about collaboration, of course lah, the importance of collaboration ni perlulah kita nurture dari sekolah lagi kan, as you have um, demonstrated dalam pelbagai aktiviti kita sebelum ni. Jadi, jom kita tengok. Sorry, I would like to move on to the next slide. So, basically we have discussed about different space phenomenon and also space weather and the role of the Earth magnetic fields in protecting us from the space weather. So dalam activity 9.3, okay, this activity is where you have to gather and share information on the definition of space weather and its effects on Earth. So kalau kamu discuss daripada video clip movie tadi, ada yang sebut pasal efek daripada communication, ada yang efek dia dalam bentuk yang cantik seperti aurora, tapi bagaimana pula dia disturb telecommunication, navigation system, electrical power lines. Macam dalam video tadi, dia tunjuk dia inform electrical provider on what to do next lah. So based on your findings, develop a 3-minute presentation, 3 minit saja, 3-minute presentation on what is space weather and its effects on Earth. This is a group work. So based on your e-magazine before, you have 7 groups. So saya dah buat breakout rooms untuk ke-7 group ni. Cumanya untuk group yang kelima, orang dia hanya ada Adriana saja. So Adriana saya pindahkan masuk ke dalam group 4 ya. Dan for other groups tu dia ada at least 3 members ada attend. Hanya group 1 saja perfect attendance hari ni. Tapi group lain, group 6 pun saya rasa perfect attendance. Tapi group lain tu at least ada seorang missing lah. Tapi tak apa, majority are here. So saya akan buka breakout rooms and then dalam breakout rooms tu please discuss on what medium that you want to use. Kamu nak guna PowerPoint ke, Canva ke, Google Slide ke, apa-apa. Ataupun mungkin kamu ada idea nak present dalam bentuk yang lain daripada yang lain. So you can discuss there. And then number 2, I would like for you to discuss what you understand about space weather and its effects. Basically kamu nak cerita macam mana, what is the flow of your work, apa benda yang mungkin kamu nak discuss dan pembahagian tugas dia. So saya sekarang open the rooms. You can see that I have divided all of you into the 7 groups shown here. Okay, saya open breakout rooms. Okay, please go to your breakout rooms and I will see you there. Okay.